Hey y'all, welcome back to the latest installment of
Coffee
and Tea
with the County. So glad to have y'all back with us as part of our digital outreach series. And again, we have our shiny new lavaliers we're playing with.
We also have our authentic chairs as well.
Right. Squeaky, squeaky.
So just so you know, that's what's going on with us today.
Exactly. So if you hear some weird squeaks or blips or things like that, it's not Morse code telling you, you will love the museum. You will come to the museum. The museum is awesome. So
it's also not my creaky joints either.
Yeah, exactly. We got to put all those disclaimers out there to discredit the conspiracy theories. So, yeah. Well, you may notice that we are sitting in, of course, a new exhibit area. We are sitting in our Graniteville exhibit. So if y'all want to explore this once we're reopened to the public, you can come on back to the south boundary side of the house, because it is quite the cavernous maze here.
It is indeed.
To find your way around. But if you head towards the gift store, which is awesome, then you will pass by the gift store and head on back here to the communities exhibit, and you can learn more about Graniteville. But of course, you know our routine by now because you've watched all of our videos.
All of them. You fall asleep to them at night, don't you?
Exactly. So we can do the subliminal messaging of, you will love the museum. You will come to the museum.
And when you come, you will bring Leah a sweet tea.
Oh, yes. And Lauren chocolate. Yes, exactly. It's got to work. Somebody.
Sure, somebody.
Even if it works with one person. Just kidding. Y'all don't bring us stuff. It's all good.
No, bring me tea.
And bring yourself and come enjoy our museum. Because, of course, we always have free admission. We're open 6 days a week when we're normally open. So come and enjoy our cool exhibits. But to take us back to the exhibit area. So Graniteville has a very long history. It's an important part of Aiken County's history, as are all the communities. But we're going to point out two of our favorite stories in this exhibit. So Leah, do you want to start with yours?
I would love to.
Great.
So this picture here, this picture is of, I'll show you here, W.P. Springfield. Can you see with the glare there? Ish. Okay. So this is of W.P. Springfield, and he was actually, he was from Graniteville, and he had what they called a dope wagon.
Dope wagon?
A dope wagon.
You don't say.
I do say.
Was he selling illicit materials?
Well, no, that's not for me to say. I don't know. I don't know what he did.
What he had in the glove department, glove compartment.
I don't know. But I know that he sold Cokes, hot dogs, peanuts, ice cream, things like that from his wagon.
Oh.
Now, the reason that they called it a dope wagon was because, and this is so amazing to us. We just learned this today, actually.
Don't tell them that. We've known this for years.
Years.
We've written papers on it. Yeah.
I am, in fact, the one that invented. Okay, no. So it actually started with the Dutch word dupe, which is Dutch for if they didn't lie to me, which is Dutch for sauce. And so this goes. Now follow me with this. We're going all the way back to soda fountains and pharmacies. And if you've been down in our basement, you'll know that the soda fountain and the pharmacy are very heavily intertwined.
Yes.
And that's because pharmacists were already used to mixing things up, compounding medicines, and they added their own syrups to these medicines to cover the bitterness or the sometimes just really horrible taste.
Yeah, well, they were sometimes putting horrible things in there that we today would not be regulated through the FDA.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So they use these sauces or syrups to cover the taste or mask the taste. Well, then carbonated water came along. And carbonated water was a huge hit. They thought that it was very healthful. And if you mixed it with a syrup, then you could have any flavor that you wanted. And so because these dopes or syrups were added to these carbonated beverages or the medicines, then that's why these were called dope wagons.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love following etymology, that kind of study of the origin of a word.
Yes.
It's so neat.
And the reason that I chose this picture is because when we came into this room, Lauren looked right at this picture and said, dope wagon. And I said, yeah, soda dope. That's what my grandmother calls it.
And I said, what? I've never heard of that before.
Yes, my grandmother always called it dope. If she wanted a Coke or some other sort of carbonated beverage, she said, I want a dope. Get me a dope.
That's so neat.
Yeah, so that's what I grew up calling it. And then, of course, later on when you find out the illicit other meaning of it, I was shocked. And I asked my dad, I was like, does Mama, does she do dope? That was my dad's reaction. I was a kid. I didn't know. But that also, the illicit meaning also came from this word from this origin because it was another syrup or sauce.
Yeah.
That you were using.
They would condense that kind of tar-like syrup that came from, a opiate pod.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And other ways that they compounded the drugs or that they would have distilled or, I don't know all the terminology. I just know that my grandmother would ask for dope. And that meant I had to go to the refrigerator and get a caffeine-free diet Pepsi.
Nice.
So that's all.
That's cool.
Yeah, but so that's what we grew. Now, a sack was a poke. That's my bonus for you today.
A sack is a poke. What's a poke?
A poke. I don't know. Just a poke sack.
Huh.
I have no idea. Y'all, I am from Appalachia, so there's no telling. But I will say this. This actually, the word dope in reference to sodas, that actually stayed in South Carolina for a really long time.
Yeah.
They specifically, in the research that we did, they specifically mentioned that it stayed in South Carolina.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Well, and obviously it was alive and well in the Graniteville system, and the dope wagon would come around and provide refreshments for the workers.
Yes.
So that's neat.
Down here in the corner, I love this little detail here.
The stamping from.
And that you can see W.P. Stringfield. Now, if you watched our other video about coinage, well,
yeah,
I love
that's
it.
so cool. It says Bath, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Neat.
So this is my favorite part because it, of course, reminds me a bit of home as well.
Yeah.
And I was able to teach my boss something.
I know. I love learning stuff. It's good. Maybe one day it'll be on Jeopardy.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Exactly. You never know. Well, talking about Appalachia and the that part of our country, William Gregg came from West Virginia. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those mountain folk, you gotta love us.
Hardy people. Hardy people with good ideas and hard work ethic. So William Gregg was born in 1800, and he grew up in West Virginia. His parents, or his mother died at an early age, and he was adopted by his uncle. And his uncle was a watchmaker and a textile spinner. He worked with machinery on that. And so,
wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So William Gregg eventually moves to Charleston, South Carolina, and he makes his fortune there as a silversmith, a watchmaker. He had an inheritance as well. So he had a fortune by the time he's in his 30s, where's my fortune? I know, it's not out there.
You're sitting in it, dear.
Yes, exactly. This is my house. I'm going to take over Banksia now and live here. It'll be great.
I meant your good fortune to work here.
Oh. Yeah, that's what I meant too.
Long week again.
That's what I meant too. Yeah. So he made his fortune in Charleston, and then he moved to Aiken because he bought shares or stock in the Vaucluse Mill Company. And he started his own mill company in 1845 called the Graniteville Manufacturing Company. He chartered it then. And what was innovative about him is he really becomes the father of Southern textile. And he, this is before the Industrial Revolution ever hit us. This is pre-Civil War, and here's somebody coming in and building this massive textile conglomerate, basically, and has his own village, has his own schools where the children of his workers go to, his own companies, things like that. And when we talked in our earlier video about the coinage, we talked a little bit about that as well. So he was just this innovative gentleman. And one of the things I did not know about him until we started doing the research here in the room is that he was South Carolina's first commercial peach farmer. I know, varied interest, this gentleman. He was evidently a big gardener, and he had a house called Calmia. That was where Gregg Avenue, of course, 2 G's, y'all, G-R-E-G-G, and Richland Avenue meet. And he had a place there called Calmia. He had over 100 acres, and he planted, by the end of his life, about 8,500 peach trees.
Wow.
Yeah. And what was really cool is, obviously South Carolina peaches are way better than Georgia peaches, and I'm probably going to start a turf war with that statement. I'm sorry, y'all. Our sandy soils is just better. Georgia peach, what? No, South Carolina peaches. And so what was neat about him is that he had the peaches picked, of course, and they were individually wrapped, and then they were put on the night train to Charleston, where they would be boarded onto a shipper, a steamer ship. They'd be steamed all the way up to New York and then offloaded. So within 3 days' time, the peaches were picked and then being consumed in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's a pretty cool dude, had a lot of varied interests, brought a lot of growth and economy to our area. So the Graniteville exhibit is a neat one to come explore and learn some of our fascinating history.
I've really enjoyed being in this room just today and looking at it more in depth. Being able to sit and talk in these exhibits hopefully it's helped y'all learn a little something, but it's also helped us become more familiar with parts of the museum that we don't get to spend a lot of individual time in.
I know, we're so used to working behind the scenes and doing all the administrative aspects of running the museum that we don't get to enjoy our own exhibits. So this has been really cool.
It has.
Yeah.
Thank you for offering this to us.
Yes, exactly. Well, we hope y'all have enjoyed it, and of course check us out and share our video if you've liked it. Respond back if you have some questions, or if you want to make a turf war about Georgia peaches versus South Carolina peaches. Don't start that on Facebook, please. But if you have any questions or comments and things like that, please feel free to leave them with us, and we hope you've enjoyed it.
Or if you would like to see something specific.
Yeah, if you think we should feature a specific exhibit or something that you've enjoyed walking through the museum yourself and want to see highlighted, just let us know. All right.
Thanks,
Thank y'all.